Home energy efficiency. How are we taking care of that in a stick frame house? Welcome to our YouTube channel. I'm Brad Leavitt with AFT Construction. This is our Kingbird Place project, and there's a few unique details that separate this home to other ones in the neighborhood. Now, this is one of the last homes to be constructed in this neighborhood. One thing you'll see in Arizona that's pretty common is you'll have a master developer come in. They develop a raw piece of dirt, right? They'll create the HOA, the CCNRs. They give structure to the community, and then they'll do what we call the horizontal development. And that is bringing in all the horizontal utilities, wet and dry utilities, cutting in the streets, putting in the curb and gutter. Sometimes they'll have access gates, security gates that come in, as well as potentially a guard tower, playgrounds, everything for the community. And then they'll have these pads all approved through the city, and they're available for individual sale. And what happens is, in most cases, the client will purchase the land from the developer, and then they'll hire their own builder. So in this case, in this neighborhood, that was the case, and all of these homeowners hired their own builder to come in. And our client had, through online inquiries, through social media, and just word of mouth as some other of our former clients that they had known had recommended they hire AFT. And so fortunately, we came in to work on this project, and there's a few unique details. First and foremost, something that is unique is we're using a Stego mat vapor barrier. It's the first house in the neighborhood that has used Stego mat, and this is a vapor barrier, which is really important. We're gonna have wood flooring throughout this build. So as you have wood flooring, and to prevent any moisture from coming in from that slab, we know that concrete's porous. So vapor barrier is gonna be a great solution for that, and that's a standard for all of our projects. And speaking of standards, we actually work with Mark Leavitt, and Mark is a building science extraordinaire. We worked on his personal home, and something unique that AFT offers that no one else does, well, I shouldn't say no one else, very few do, is Mark actually inspects every single build that we do. And so when it's about this stage of construction, you can see our mechanicals are mostly complete. We're installing windows right now. We're working with Marvin Windows. Mark will come out, he'll inspect all the window flashing around the Marvin windows. He'll inspect the tight seal that we're using up on the soffit and roof line. And so Mark will come through, and he's worked with us on a set of standards, including the Stego vapor barrier mat. And with these items, now we can come through, we can create a true waterproof barrier, because water is our biggest enemy for us and our clients. And we'll water test the home. So working with Mark with these unique details, flashing details, as well as he's working with us on making sure how we insulate the roof deck, that all our mechanical equipment is in air-conditioned space, and he's also working with our mechanical contractors to ensure that we have the right tonnage, zoned properly for the AC. Now, with that said, there's a unique feature inside. We spoke about a little bit of the exterior components, most specifically in regard to waterproofing, but we have here this dome that you've been looking at right behind me. We're actually standing in, our clients have a his and her office. Her office is just over there. She has a full bathroom. His office has this special meditation room. Now what you're gonna have here, you can see this door opening. However, when construction is completed, we're gonna have millwork in this entire room, so you will not see this door. This is gonna be a hidden door to access this private space. And as we come on back, this is what we call a vision room. Now our client is a visionary, and so having that quiet room that we're gonna soundproof, working with rock wool to have the soundproof for him. And then of course, we're gonna have that hidden door. He can come in here. We have no lights in the dome, so it can be very quiet, it can be dark, but we do have lights that will project up so that he can have that starry night, starry ceiling if he wanted. But the whole purpose of this room, there's gonna be a lazy boy in here. Of course, air conditioned, there is power in here. And so our client can come in and they can meditate. They can listen to podcasts. They can listen to books on tape and really let the creativity come to them as they're having this quiet meditation room. So it's a great add-on to the client's office, who, again, has an office nearby for their business that is expanding very quickly around the country, and they're doing a phenomenal job. So stay tuned as you see more details come with the meditation room, as well as some of the waterproofing and structural details we're doing on this build. So there's one more thing that Mark is doing in this build, and something that he's doing on all of our builds, consulting early on. Now, one thing you're trying to eliminate for great energy efficiency is the thermal bridging, right? And so we know that the least insulation we have, the more poor the house will be as far as energy efficiency. And so the more lumber that's in a wall, it's gonna take away from the insulation we can install that creates that that transition from happening from hot to cold, or that transition from bringing, here in Arizona specifically in the summer, that heat inside the home. And so advanced framing, when you're working with typical stick frame, you're looking to do exterior walls that are wider. Instead of 16-inch on center, maybe 24 inches. In the corners of the building, how we can create pockets there of insulation as opposed to just lumber, so that that heat transfer can be avoided. And so Mark is consulting with us specifically on insulation. One thing that's a key component that we are moving to as a standard is spraying the attic decks with spray foam insulation before mechanical start. And what that does is, what happens is, as you put in mechanicals, these are tight spaces. It's hard for the insulation contractor to come in and access those points of construction. But if you bring them early on and have those all insulated prior to, they're already there, and now we run the mechanical all underneath. We still find space for them, and now you're the whole home is optimized, with a really tight envelope that's going to protect you from the heat transfer that's coming from outside in. So how are we finding a better way to insulate a home with stick framing as well as waterproofing?